all started so well for Arsenal. Ian Selly's corner was met by Andy Linnigan, who put them in front with just 3 minutes of the match played. It was Linnigan who'd scored Arsenal's injury-time winner against Wednesday in the 1993 Cup final. This was his second of the season. And it got Arsenal already boosted by the return of Paul Merson and skipper Tony Adams to Premiership action, off to a flying start. But 5 minutes later, Sheffield Wednesday were back on level terms. Dan Petrescu was involved twice in the build-up. Having accepted a return from Mark Bright, he fed Chris Waddle, and after Waddle's cross had been knocked down by Bright, Petrescu finished the move off by slamming the ball home for the equaliser. It was his third goal of the season, and the Romanian international had every reason to be pleased with it. Waddle's cross with the outside of his left foot was met by Bright before being volleyed in by Petrescu to make it 1-1 despite David Seaman getting a hand to the ball. Wednesday's ability to use wide positions had Arsenal stretched. Waddle became a particular threat, and when his shot took a deflection, Swedish star Klaus Ingersson accepted the opportunity to put Wednesday 2-1 in front midway through the first half. Ingersson had been included in the starting lineup, having recovered from stomach and ankle injuries. And although he was fortunate that the ball was deflected into his path off Linnigan's heel, he finished well, side-footing the ball past the helpless David Seaman. 8 minutes into the second half, though, Adams and Bright clashed in an incident that was to lead to the Arsenal skipper being sent off. Bright ended up on the floor despite Adams' attempts to pull him up. The incident happened after the two players had jumped for a high ball. Adams, in complaining afterwards about Bright's challenge, caught the Wednesday striker in the face with his elbow, and the referee, Keith Burge, produced what's becoming an increasingly familiar sight in football, the red card. Bright said afterwards that he didn't think Adams had meant it, and he'd support him if Arsenal wanted to appeal. The Arsenal boss, George Graham, certainly thought it had been unintentional. Arsenal, though, could have few complaints when 12 minutes from the end, a challenge by John Hartson, their recent £2.5 million signing on Petrescu, led to the referee reaching for his red card once again. Hartson maintained he'd been going for the ball, and George Graham said that in his view it was 50-50, and it was the linesman who got him sent off. Certainly, the referee and linesman consulted at length about the incident, and despite the protests of the other Arsenal players, the referee eventually decided that Hartson should follow his captain to the dressing room. It was only Hartson's fifth match for the Gunners since moving from Luton, and Graham said he'd be looking at both of the sending-off incidents before deciding whether to appeal, but he did add that it highlighted problems with officials this season. With only 9 men, though, Arsenal were up against it, and after John Sheridan's cross, Mark Bright scored a third goal for Wednesday, taking his total for the season to 9. The Wednesday manager, Trevor Francis, praised Arsenal for their spirit and fight and for the way they wanted to win. But it was Wednesday who claimed all 3 points. They've now gone 10 matches without defeat. They finished Sheffield Wednesday 3, Arsenal 1.